Hi everyone, I'm Max, and Blizzard just announced the Dragonflight Season 4 content update notes. For those of you who don't know, Dragonflight Season 4 will be launching in April 23rd, I believe, which is going to be next Tuesday. Yes, April 23rd. So let's dive into it. Let's see what actually is going to um, show up in the patch. So, for those of you who don't know, season four is basically an experiment by Blizzard in back in Shadowlands season four, right? Shadowlands, there's a gap in between Sepulchre of the First Ones, which is the last raid of the Shadowlands, and in between Dragonflight launch. So they added up a new season, which we can do like previous raids back in Shadowlands for all the raids. You can do all the dungeons. They tested a little bit with dungeons coming back, right? They gave us a new seasonal affix back then, but this time around, it probably won't be the case. Um, Interesting enough, I think Blizzard is trying to do something different. I thought Blizzard is trying to do something different this time. I mean, they did something different, but I heard that they're trying to basically not do a season four for the War Within. At least that's words on the street. That probably would make sense because they're trying to squeeze in three expansions by the end of 2030, right? The World Saga thing, which means that technically, for on average, each expansion is gonna get 18 months, assuming an average length of 5 months per tier, basically like per raid, right? Um, that probably means that we will not get something similar to this in future expansions. Maybe something different, but like it probably won't be a whole new season after all. But that's just for the future. So for now, let's see what Dragonflight Season 4 has to offer. Awakened raids. Every 2 weeks during Dragonflight Season 4, one of the three Dragonflight raids will become awakened. Vault of the Incarnates, Aberrus the Shattered Crucible, or Mudra the Dream's Hope. Enemies within awakened raids are stronger and drop upgraded loot with a higher item level. So schedule what week 1 and 2, Vault of the Incarnates, week 3 and 4, Aberrus the Shattered Crucible, week 5 and 6, Mudra the Dream's Hope, and week 7, all raids awaken. So this is different from what Blizzard did last time in Shadowlands Season 4, where you're only given 1 week for each raid, right, and then alternate in between three raids. And I think they wrote it twice, I believe. And then after week 7 onward, all raids are basically uh, that back then it was not called Awakened, but like something similar. But this time around, they give you 2 weeks basically to basically reprogress each raid, right? That's probably better because back then, if you want to re-clear some of the raids, I think for especially lower end guild, 1 week is probably not enough to clear the whole thing, especially on mythic difficulty, right? You feel kind of rushed to um, finish the whole raid before it switches to another one. So this time around, 2 weeks, it's a little bit lenient, right? For people that are curious about the loot in future raids or for the raids that come later into the patch, you probably want to use the bullion, or we'll talk about later. We probably want to use the bullion to exchange something that drops later in the raid, for example, Midrasil, right, or Aberrus, something that you like. But definitely hold on to bullion if you want something from Vault. But also, you can argue the other way around, where you need 4 more weeks in order to do Vault of the Incarnates again. So like, so that there's like a min max here, right? A buff that increases reputation gain with Dragonfly reputations will be enabled whenever a specific raid is awakened. Sure. I mean, that probably doesn't matter as much. All three raids will now drop a new tier token to exchange for new tier pieces with the appearance and set bonuses combination the player voted for. This is back in, I think by the end of close to the end of season 3, where Blizzard announced a poll, basically letting players vote for the appearance and which tier set effect that you actually want for season 4. I think most of them are fine. Like most of them are actually powerful and what player wanted, but some of them are not looking too hot. I don't know if that's the end of tuning for these tier sets, but we'll see. Okay, here comes the interesting part. Earn 1 antique bronze bullion a week by defeating awakened bosses, which with the cap rising by 1 each week. Note that if you miss a week, you'll be able to catch up to the current weekly max. Sure. This is basically exactly what I was guessing by looking at PTR and data mining and all that stuff. Because basically, if you want a certain weapon or trinket, you need 2 bullions for each. And as you can see here, exchange 2 bullion for weapons and powerful items from the Dragonflight raids from the vendors in the Parting Glass in Voldraken. So basically, every 2 weeks, you get I think a normal version of whatever weapon or trinket from the raid that you want, right? Sadly enough, this doesn't include dungeon drops, which some of the dungeon trinkets are actually interesting, right? So these only include drops from the raid, which gonna cover most stuff. But it's still sad that it doesn't include dungeon drops. So an additional vendor nearby sells Jigglewurth's senior mount, which is the green tiger or whatever cat thingy, the mount that if you finish all back then was not it's fated. So if you complete all fated raid, which is the equivalent of awakened in Dragonflight season 4 back in Shadowlands season 4, you get the mount. So they are bringing this mount back for 3 bullion. And cosmetics that grant you the choice of any raid weapon appearances at any difficulty color for 1 bullion each. So this is actually interesting. There's only raid weapon appearances. I thought they were gonna bring back raid tier set appearance at any difficulty. Maybe sell it at a higher price, but it's kind of weird that they're only doing weapons. But yeah, legendary items will drop as usual from raids. But players who have previously obtained that can purchase a Scale of Awakening to up their items to the Season 4 item levels, basis 502, and can be upgraded further through quests and flight zones. This is actually interesting, where back then in Shadowlands Season 4, you upgrade the baseline legendary and you want something like a token that drops from, I think for the Huntable, you want Heroic Sylvanas, you want Mythic Sylvanas. Back then, it is the only way to upgrade your legendary to like Season 4 item levels equivalent. So this is kind of good. This is now way easier, right? You just get the Scale of Awakening to upscale your legendary to Season 4 item levels, and then further upgrade by something that you can actually grind instead of like pure luck. Right. I think the bad luck protection for the legendary axe is still it transfers, right, from season 3 to season 4. So like if you're still hunting for these legendaries, you can still kind of get it with a relatively high chance. Rewards: complete all 3 awakened Dragonflight raids on normal difficulty to receive the Voyaging Wildering Dynamic Fly mount. Glad it's dynamic flying. I don't know how that looks, but this is basically the equivalent of the where's the mount name? Jigglewurth's. It's basically the same thing. This is just a Dragonflight season 4 version of it. So earn the new title, Awakened Hero. That's kind of cool. This is a really cool name for like a season 4 title. I wish it could be something cooler. For completing the Awakening raids on difficulty, and then you get a portal for a Mythic, right? Okay, this is exactly the same back in Shadowlands Season 4. So, Mythic Plus. Return to all 8 Dragonflight dungeons for a refined and rewarding progression curve for Heroic, Mythic, and Mythic Plus with better pacing and meaningful rewards. This is just the 8 Dragonflight dungeons. Dedicated defenders can obtain a new Keystone Master mount, okay. This is just still 2,000 ratings or something. Draconic is the title for season 4. It's kind of cool. Draconic Hero. Oh, that's actually really nice. PvP season 4. Don't really care. I personally don't play season 4, but Draconic Gladiator and Draconic Legend seems really cool names. Dungeon changes. Okay, so they're finally finalizing everything here. Uh, I think Blizzard made a post about the dungeon. Uh, Basically, they smooth out the curve from Mythic to Mythic Plus, and basically, the previous problem was that in season 3, keystone level around 10 to, or I guess 5 to 15 or something, these are not that rewarding, right? And it's kind of easy, but when you scale into higher keystone levels, it felt different. Um, the difficulty curve is not smooth enough. So they're trying to address the issue here, basically making, um, basically baking Mythic plus 10 keystone level back in season 3 into the Mythic 0 difficulty. And essentially, if you're doing 20 keys on season 3, you're probably doing it is the equivalent of keystone level 10 in season 4, which is the exact example that they're talking about. Mythic 5 in season 4 is roughly equivalent to Mythic 15 today, which is season 3, right? Um, so this is obviously good for the majority of the game. I think they added the follower dungeon thing with heroic as well, right? There's no mythic though, I believe. So there's that. They don't want you to rush a dungeon easier than plus 10 on season 3. You can just do it at your own pace, kind of thing. This is really good overall. So at the beginning of season 4, all keystones will be reset to level 2, regardless of levels. Sure, I mean this is a huge change for the system, so it just makes sense to do the drop by 10 or 11 thingy, uh, which we were getting for previous seasons. Crescent Flightstones. Flightstone earning for any given Mythic Plus dungeon will match the equally challenging Mythic Plus from previous seasons. This means that Mythic Plus plus 2 in season 4 will get the same number of Flightstone as a Mythic plus 12 in season currently does. Oh, I mean, they're not buffing the Flightstone earnings in season 4. This is kind of a chore for especially alt characters. I wonder why they still insist to do that. Um, Flystone doesn't have to exist, in my opinion. Like, the crest system is good and all that, but Flystone is just. There's no need for such things to exist, I feel like. So, well playing crests are gone. That's cool. Um, Players will earn turn Chandra crest on Mythic Plus 0. Okay, they're just scaling accordingly, I guess. So, sure. Northern Cup for dragon riding people. This is, I guess, something exciting to do because it's something new. Classes. Developers note, in Season 4, we're reducing the overall throughput of some healers to better align with our tuning goals, as well as increasing the comparative power of Holy Paladin, Preservation Evoker, and Holy Priest without needing to further escalate the capabilities of healers. So basically, it's a 5% nerf for Wrestle Druid, 13% nerf for Mistweaver. It's around 20% nerf for Disc Priest. It's lower for. This is something like 5%, somewhere around that, right? Because Atonement is almost like 60% for healing, at least in raids. So Disc Priest is fine. All healing reduced by 5% for Shaman. So I wonder how Mistweaver is gonna do now, because Mistweaver is getting a significantly heavier nerf than the others. I personally think Druid needs more nerf. Um, like if we were to compare power levels of healers, Restore Druid and Race absolutely at the top in terms of numbers. So, I mean, it's season 4, right? Like, I'm down to have some fun or crazy stuff. Having one class or spec significantly better than the others is probably fine. because it's just a fun season. Like it's not anything serious. Looking for raid. I don't really care. Aberrus, the Shadow Crucible, Echo of Neltharion, Volcanic Heart now targets 4 players on Mythic difficulty equals 5. It's the thing you have to run out, right? To fill the pentagon or whatever that shape was. So that's good. Now Echo's I think back then was 6, right? So now it's significantly easier. Razagath. Razagath is finally getting a nerf. I think Razagath is probably the hardest boss out of all Dragonflight raid end bosses now, because Fyrak is heavily nerfed. Sarkarath is kind of fine. I mean, he's getting nerfed as well. Hurricane Wind's pushback strength reduced by 10% on all difficulties, so that includes Mythic as well. That's cool. So now, I wonder you can do one more round of abilities, maybe, but it's probably not necessary. Lightning's Deviation cast time increased to 4 seconds with 3. This is the frontal, right? It's whatever. Flame Shield reduced by 23%. I think that's the ad in P1 intermission, where if you don't if you don't kill the shield, everyone just die, right? I think that's what it is. They're nerfing the healing absorb in the intermission as well, so that's good. Dawn of the Infinite Heart Mode. Dawn of the Infinite Heart Mode tuning and rewards have been updated. Heart Mode does not have a timer and rewards a hero track item. Heart Mode is intended to be more challenging than a standard mythic difficulty dungeon. So that's something that you absolutely want to get your hands on if you want some loot early on in the season, or for maybe ults later into the patch. Because it does not have a timer, you just have to play slow and make sure you don't wipe. I think there's no. I think you can't die in any of those modes, and you have to carry the thing to certain places in order to fulfill the hard mode requirement. But yeah, that's something you definitely want to look. That definitely something you want to look at if you want like hero track. Hero track is pretty insane, right, for a hard mode. I mean, you can do it once a week, so there's that. So here's dungeon tuning. Alcathar Academy. Spellbound Scepter Arcane Rain has been removed. This is the left part of the dungeon, right? There's no like Arcane Rain where you have to dodge stuff on the ground. Mythic Blast can no longer be interrupted. Okay, so this is basically a compensation buff, right? Because you have one less ability to, or one fewer ability to deal with. Arcane Missiles damage reduced by 50%. That's good for the tanks. Encounters Croth. This is the bird boss. Firestorm frequency reduced to 8 seconds was 5. That's pretty good. Savage Peck's initial damage reduced by 13% and periodic damage reduced by 33%. So this is one of the hardest boss for tanks, especially back in season 1, right? So they're heavily nerfing the initial damage and the bleed damage, and I don't know if that's enough, but hopefully, because in season 1, Croth just hits like a truck, and if you don't have bleed removal, even if you have bleed removal and dwarf ratio, it's really painful. So I hope the nerf is good enough. Veximus, Mana Bomb, periodic damage reduced by 20%. This is the arcane elemental thing, right? On the left side. So this is basically the ticking damage thing, I think. So that part is actually kind of hard to heal as well for healers. I think you have 3 debuffs at a time, so that's kind of insane that you have to heal through all this. So that's good. Echo of Doragosa. She has now a new mythic mechanic, Unleash Energy. The Echo of Doragosa unleashes powerful arcane energy, inflicting arcane damage to all players and opening arcane rifts in nearby locations. Okay. I mean, it's just adding something. It's basically keeping healer busy thing, right? Because previously the boss was way too easy, and there's just really nothing happening. Our Astral Bath cast time has increased to 3 seconds. Sure. Okay. Because previously, if you're very far away from the boss, it's actually kind of hard to dodge it. So that's good. the Azure Vault increased the Mythic plus timer by 2 minutes. Now you may wonder why this is the case. I think they fixed all the jump down thingy in Azure Vault, so you can previously you can kind of choose your route, right? And I think, in my opinion, that's part of the reason why this dungeon is kind of fun after the nerfs. So now they're removing that, but giving you more time on a dungeon. So I guess that's that. Crystal Fury is the giant thingy. Piercing Shard now has a precast visual. Okay, so that's good. You now won't get one shot like if you're melee or standing in front of the thing. So that's good. Impact area reduced by 25%. Okay. Conjured Lasher Mystic Vapors will now be cast less frequently. Okay, so they're nerfing the smaller thing. Arcane Tender's erratic growth cast time increased to 3.5 was 2.5. Okay. Unstable Curator's Heavy Tome will now be cast less frequently. Okay. Draconoid Breaker. Shoulder Slam knockback has been removed. Okay. Now physical damage increased physical damage by 10% and will be now cast less frequently. The knockback is good because previously you have to really carefully position yourself in case you get knocked back and just knock down and probably die, or at least lose aggro so that your team might die. So that's good. Encounters Laneboard. This is the first boss. Erupting Fissures now follow current target players. Erupting Fissures. Oh, okay. I mean that kind of makes sense. Azure Blade. Reduce the frequency of periodic damage from overwhelming energy to every 2.5 seconds or every 2 seconds. This is the intermission thing, right? It's just pulsing every damage. So now it's casting less frequently, so overall less damage taken. I guess that's good for the healers. Oppressive Miasma removed. Oh, this is the slow thing, right? I think. Crystallize now pulses arcane damage while the crystal is shielded. Okay. Crackling Vortex now has a larger movement radius. I think that's the one you have to run away from, right? It just randomly chases or like wandering around. You can get close to it. Detonating crystals and hardened crystals now spawn closer. Okay, that's really good because back then it was really annoying and it's really unlucky if you find yourself having a crystal very far away from Frost. And from melee, it's just really, really bad, right? So that's good. Address an issue when detonating crystals can fail to spawn. I think that's this fixing the bug, where you can actually have no crystals and it just does nothing and you just kill the boss, right? So I guess that's the bug, or the cheese is just gone. Dragonhide Hollow. Withering debuff no longer stacks. Periodic damage reduced. Haste reduction reduced. Whoa. So now it reduced 10% haste instead of... Oh, it's just a 1 debuff. Okay, so now that's like 5 stacks of it, right? So upfront it's just stronger, but it no longer stacks. I wonder if it's actually nerf. I feel like it's more of a buff, no? The damage part is not that important, I feel like, but the haste reduction is definitely brutal. So now I think it's a disease, right? So now disease dispel is more important, I guess. Fetid Rotsinger. Decay totem health reduced by 20%. This is the elite mob, right? You have the decay totem summoned. Sure. Rot Bow Stalker. This is the range mob, the ranger mob that you cast the bleed, right? Shoot now has a recast of 6 seconds. Oh, this is good. So now this mob is way easier because previously you basically don't want to deal with any of them, right? Oh, now it's a poison dispel. Okay, that's good. So now this mob is way easier, and I don't know if it opens up enough path to the left because I still don't think you would go left after the first boss. It's just kind of trolling. Dragonhide Shaper Summon Lashers and Touch of Decay has removed. Oh, okay. So there's no bleed small mobs, I think, right? Okay. Stink Breath. Violent Whirlwind radius reduced to 6 yards. Okay. Sync Breath now locks facing after targeting a player. Sync Breath now has a visual while casting. Oh, so this is the one on the bridge, right? Previously, you want to skip that. I think you still want to skip that, anyways. It's really brutal on higher key levels where you just get one shot. If you're kind of melee, right? Um, I mean, range can obviously outrange it, and it doesn't follow you around because now it just locks facing a player, so that's good. I still don't think you want to play this mob though, so there's that. Wilted Oak, Necrotic Breath of Cast visual has been updated. Cone Width has been adjusted to match the new visual. Okay. Gut Stabber Withering Poison has been removed. Worst Scorch Bloody has been removed. It's the bleed from. Oh, so they're now removing the bleed. This is really good for melee. I guess melee can finally play the dungeon now, because previously melee was it's a hell. Let me put it that way. So that's good. Hack Claw's Warband. This is the first boss. Predatory Instincts haste bonus reduced to 5%. Okay. So now it just casts spells less frequently, right? Mark for arbitrary damage frequency increased to 1 second. So this is basically 50% nerf, because it does damage twice less frequent, right? Gash Frenzy damage reduced. Okay, Gash Frenzy now it's 15 seconds. So now you can actually, I think you can actually heal through now instead of like trying to. You can like basically keep somebody alive by after 15 seconds, and then it's just gone, right? Previously, you have to really top someone because it lasts for 45 seconds and you're not going to keep up. So, okay, that's good. Dungeon checkpoint, Halls of Infusion. Dungeon checkpoint added after defeating Gulping Goliath. Oh, that's really good. That's really good because previously the only checkpoint was the start of the dungeon, right? So now after defeating the second boss, you now have a checkpoint. That's really, really good. And it makes the dungeons significantly easier, I think. Like, it's more lenient to wipes, basically. Because previously, if you wipe on the path to the last boss, it's basically kind of GG, right? Even, like, if you have to run back and stuff. Normalize the spawn rate of crashing tsunami during the gauntlet. This is the path to the last boss, right? Okay. Containment apparatus, containment beam damage reduced by 42%. This is the mob that just cast beam like non-stop and just cannot be interrupted, right? You can freedom them, you can stun, but it's still really obnoxious. So I'm glad they nerfed it. Primalist Gale Singer, Wind Buffet and Thunderstorm has been removed. New ability is Thunder Strike. Inflicts nature damage to all players within 7 yards of impact. Okay. Primalist Earthshaker Rumbling Earth Rim Visual will no longer clip to the terrain. Okay, that's really good. Because previously you cannot tell if you're actually in it or not. Watcher Iridius. Titanic Fix now has a visual. Okay, so that's really good. Previously, you kind of have to look at where he's facing, right? So that's more obvious now. Power Overload now has a rim visual around afflicted player. Power Field now gradually grows to its full size. I think that's the one you dispel afterwards, right? It leaves a field, so like it now grows. So you really have to do the room management. I mean, you're doing it anyways if you're seriously doing the boss, I guess. So it doesn't really matter. Kajin the Unyielding added room visuals on ice boulders that will trigger avalanche. This is the ice boss, right? It just taking damage. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell which boulder is gonna break, basically. So that's good. Primal Tsunami casting away now occurs at 60% health, was 100% energy. That's really, really good. So now you can actually push damage into the boss. Like you can actually do a lot more damage up front when like you have cooldowns and lust or something. And then he casts away now. You can just kind of, because previously you have to hold like really long cooldowns, and it's really weird that it does like that. I wonder. This is just the first thing, right? This is just the first time intermission. I wonder what it does for future intermissions. It's just still 100 energy, but usually you just two phase it, right? So it's probably not a problem. Now Theris, each burning chain can now be only used once. Um, Previously, this dungeon is just how to maximize your chain damage. You can just pull everything that you want. You just burn it with one chain, and you do boss, and it's really really stupid. So now you have to actually play the dungeon because burning chain now stuns all enemies in it and increases damage taken by 50% for 5 seconds. I think that's kind of weak. For only lasting 5 seconds. I mean, you can chain it, right? But maybe it's okay. We'll see. Chargath. Very focused. This is the boss where it charges you and you have to dodge the thing on the ground. You can't sit in the red circle or something. Very focused. Pulsing damage near the. Oh, has been removed. Okay. Oh, it's okay. So that makes a lot of sense now. You don't have to like run away from the boss circle and try not to get one tapped. Fairy Focus now channels damage on current target. Okay, Grounded Chain now persists on defeated players. Oh, wait, what? Oh, so it doesn't bug out now. Oh, okay. So previously, if you die to the chain, if you die during the chain, it's really buggy and it's just weird. Grounded Chain now does a small knockback to the player when applied. Okay, so now you can actually run back from it faster, right? So I think that's good. Warlord Sarga, Curse of the Dragon Horde now stacks. Okay, they're changing this ability once again because previously it doesn't. Previously it does stack, and they changed it to doesn't stack, and now it stacks again. Curse of the Dragon Horde duration reduced from 30 seconds was 5 minutes. So now you actually want a curse to spell, even more. I think. Azure Stone of Might has been removed. Okay. Knockhood. Knockulumbo multi-shot has been removed. Rain of arrows will now be cast less frequently. Okay, they're nerfing the ranger thing. It's really obnoxious. They're nerfing Beastmaster, Hunt Prey damage, nerfing Rotting Wind, Desecrating Roar, basically everything, right? This is the part where you get after the first boss, I think. They're removing the Stormbolt as well. So this is really really big. Previously, you need a lot of kicks to make it work. If you're having too much range characters, it just doesn't work unless you have a prop paladin or something. So this is now really good. You kind of can play like range comps now, right? Okay. So Balakar Khan, frequency of storm winds during intermission has been reduced to every 6 seconds. Reduced to every 10 seconds was every 6 seconds. Okay. So they're nerfing the intermission. Ruby life pools. Primal Terra Sentry stone missiles have been removed. Flame Dancer Blade of Glory now has a 1 second delay before anything. Okay, that's really really good. So now, previously you want to kick it or stun it before it just goes off, right? Now you have a more lenient way of doing it. Flame Dance end of channel damage reduced by 25%. Okay, I mean you were kicking it anyway, so probably doesn't matter. It's just more room for error. Karaka and Stormvein. This is the last boss. Infernal Core duration increased to 4 seconds with 3. Paradox damage reduced to 25, or reduced by 25%. Flamestorm targets reduced to 2. Oh, so there are only 2 targets with the debuff now. That's really really good. So they're nerfing it again. It should be way easier now. Oldemon Legacy of Tyr reduced the Mythic plus timer by 1 minute. Wait, they're actually buffing this dungeon? Weird. The Lost Dwarfs, free surge damage reduced by 75%. Frequency has been significantly reduced. Burning Pitch maximum radius reaches 6. Okay, so now you have more room, I guess. Fury Surge and Burning Pitch now properly scales with key level. Okay, so that's a bug, I guess. Previously, this boss just does nothing. I think it's kind of easy, right? It's still probably the easiest boss in the dungeon. Sentinel Talon Dress. This is actually the one I'm kind of curious because this boss on higher levels is definitely a nightmare. Earthen shards initial damage reduced by 20%, periodic damage reduced by 12.5. I don't know if that's good enough. I mean, if you have like enough bleeder removal, it's probably okay, but it's still a hard boss, I think. Emberon is the robot thing, right? Burning heat duration reduced to 6 seconds was 10. Sinking flame visual has been adjusted and no longer clip into the terrain. Okay. This is just a less of a healing check now, so that's good. PvP, I mean, I don't really care, but yeah, that's the whole patch. Um, I have like mixed feelings on season 4 because they're trying to, I think their developers are trying to do the mob remix, right? Probably most of their stuff are working on mob remix now. So like season 4 kind of felt left out because there's not a lot of cooking going on, right? It's just more of the same back in Shadowlands season 4. So personally, I'm not sure if I'm gonna play season 4 because it just feels like there's not a lot going on. There's no like technically no like new stuff basically, right? Um, so yeah, probably just play Mob Remix then. But for those of you who are interested in season 4, here is the patch, and here's what exactly going to happen. You get all the raids, all the dungeons, and you can probably test it out a couple of new builds or something with the new itemization and whatnot. But yeah, that's it for the Dragonflight Season 4 content update notes. I'll see you all in the next video. Please remember to subscribe and hit the button. If you like the video, I'll try to produce more content related to World of Warcraft. Thanks, and take care. See you.